I did. Wait. Okay.
Technical difficulties.
No, I had to turn my mouse on.
Oh, okay. So user error.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am your host.
Stop talking like a
Danielle
robot.
Minetti.
No, you're not. Stop talking like a robot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the M Sister Studios podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kim, and I'm with my sister, Danielle.
Hello.
How are you? Oh, can I just say it's 9 o'clock and I'm drinking a large caffeinated beverage?
You're winning at life. You are preparing yourself for school. You're about to start school again.
Oh. You know what? I'm excited. My sweatpants with no makeup on and my bun in my hair sitting on my ass on the couch because all my classes are online.
Woo!
Which I'm excited about. I thrive with online school. I was having this discussion with the girl that I drive to school, like that I drive her to her life, which is what I like to call. Because she is in high school right now.
Uh-huh.
She's in high school right now, and she obviously she's going back in person for her junior year, and she spent the last year remotely. And I was like, she's been thriving. She's not excited to go back. She is, but she isn't. But I was like, man, high school Kim would have been thriving with this remote schooling. High school Kim was a lazy piece of shit.
High school Kim would have been
high school Kim actually probably would have gotten straight A's in high school if she was remote.
Imagine that.
No, well, I feel like it'd either be that or I really wouldn't give a shit.
I think it could go either way. Because like you were like split during high school, you know? Because like for some classes you cared, well, here's the for some classes you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So it could go either way.
Here's the thing. 1 year, I had to go to my school for summer stay because I had too many absentees.
I remember hearing about your absentees, but not the actual. You had a summer stay.
No, this is what happened. I went through the same thing and she was like, you don't have to go. It's dumb. And I was like, sick. And so they were like calling mom. I had a library for like 4 hours doing nothing. And that somehow would count for me missing like 5 weeks worth of class. So I'm like, why is school even a thing? Like, I remember fighting mom to go because I was like, I don't need to go. It doesn't make a difference. School's over. I don't want to waste today. That's dumb. She would fight with me. And so basically because I never showed up and I showed up late to go do it, they were like, just sit here for 20 minutes and you're fine. I'm like, cool.
So you literally got away with that. Like you finagled it pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had your powers.
Yeah, I did because it's dumb.
Yeah.
And like think about that. That makes no sense.
No.
Like why are you going to waste my summertime? They should have maybe do it like a day, like a Saturday during the school year. Why are you going to make me do it in the middle of like July?
Yeah, when school's already like a month out.
Who gives a shit? Mind you and I both know that high school has more problems to worry about than like me missing school.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want to hear it. But I'm excited about school. I don't know if I'll say that once I start school. No, honestly, my classes are easy as shit. I'm not worried.
And you only got a year left.
No, thank God. I'm ready
to be a real adult.
To fly like a freaking butterfly.
I don't know if you're as graceful as a butterfly, though. You're more graceful than me, but I don't know if we're on the level of butterflies yet.
I'm not a butterfly.
To attest to this, I literally almost fell over a rolling chair yesterday by stepping on top of it.
Danielle, that's like stepping on a banana peel.
I know.
How did you do that?
I pulled the chair out to sit down.
Were you at work?
Yeah, and I accidentally stepped on the rolling chair, and I felt myself. I was graceful in the fact that when I fell, I was able to fall back into the seat, but it was a very hard douche.
Oh, so you were getting up?
No, I was sitting down.
What the fuck? How does that work if you're not putting pressure on your foot, you're putting pressure on your bottom?
Well, I was stepping to step in front of the chair to turn to sit down, and I accidentally stepped on one of the, I don't know what you call them,
the wheels,
yeah, and it moved, so I almost fell, but instead of falling onto the desk, I was able to fall into the chair.
Well, that's good.
So that's the gracefulness that I have now, but it has evolved from me messing up my ankle going down a step to now being able to gracefully fall after being clumsy. So we're getting there.
It's not about how you fall, it's about how you land.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that.
Woo!
But yeah, so what were we talking about? Oh, school.
Yeah.
I'm excited for school.
I'm excited for you. You're almost done.
I know. Well, I mean, you did have a heat wave. Stop it. Wait.
What?
Dude, you froze and it was the funniest shit ever.
Why? What did I do?
The faces. You're like, oh, it was so funny. I tried taking a photo.
I think whenever it freezes and there's funny faces, that's automatically the thumbnail.
I tried. I should have taken a picture. Wait, can I just say, I told you this already, but I was editing 2 podcasts ago when we were talking about like Neanderthals and aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's when that hurricane was happening. So the connection was really shaky. And you were literally talking about something. And literally you were talking about that. I guess I froze. But the thing about the Zoom is like it still records you. So it's on you and you're like, I'm waiting for Kim. No. You're like talking. And because it's frozen, obviously I can't hear you. I just start singing songs. You're just like, what? You're just like, okay. I'm like, la da da da. It's just like, oh my God, I'm such an a-hole.
That's not a surprise.
No, but it's like, that's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, because
and then I like pretended like I heard everything you said.
Yeah, and then even though Zoom freezes, like you said, it keeps on recording. So when it comes out like how it would look if it went continuously.
Like sometimes it's on you, sometimes it's on me. It depends, but it's just you're having this deep conversation, and I'm just like la da 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 da. I'm just like, what an asshole. Oh, that was so funny. That's our dynamic, though.
Yeah, it is our dynamic.
That's how we work.
That's how we communicate. Hey,
communicate.
We might, for everyone out there listening, we might in a few months have the first in-person podcast. Like we might be able to record a podcast in person
for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But that's a month down the road. I just thought about that a few weeks ago. I'm like,
yeah, we should record a couple of them.
Yeah. One when we're fat in our PJs after eating turkey.
Oh my God, Danielle, you're frozen again. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Gobble gobble.
Sorry, I'm laughing too much.
That's okay. So here's the thing. We were supposed to record our Marvel movie today, but similar to the DC one, I did not watch the movies yet. So this one is just a normal podcast, but that one's coming next week. So
yeah,
wait for that one.
I think it's nice because then everyone can have a break. There's a break in between DC and Marvel because it's a lot, man. True. It's a lot.
It's a lot, but I will say after what, because a topic that I want to talk about today also involves DC. I really like DC stuff. Maybe more than Marvel.
You know what? I think I agree with you on that because I want to start reading comics, and the first thing I looked up was DC comics to start on because I like DC stuff, I think, a little more.
Here's the thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you can go. Go first.
What comic did you? Hello.
Hello. So okay. So hello. Hello. Okay. So here's the thing. There's the DC comics.
Let me ask the question. Okay, wait. That was me today. The guy. Stop it. Oh wait, hold on. I have water. Okay. I'm back. Okay. I'm back.
Okay. Hi. I see you're back.
I
lost you.
Danielle! Wait, you're back.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you're back. We're professionals, fucking hell. God damn it. Okay. Danielle, where'd you go? Oh, it's my Wi-Fi. I'm so sorry. It's my Wi-Fi. Okay. This is what I was going to say. Okay, I'm going to ask. Okay, so what comic books did you find? Which one are you going to start?
Okay, so
is there a particular superhero you want to start with?
No. I'm very if I'm going to start something, I'm very much I need to start from the beginning type of person, or I need to do it in a certain order, right?
So Zeus and shit?
Huh?
I don't know. Huh?
So I need to do it in a particular order.
An order.
Yeah. So, and the thing is that both Marvel and DC have been making comics for almost 100 years. Right. So very, very long time. But luckily, because I was trying to stop laughing at me. I was trying to, because we actually have a comic book store on Main Street here.
Right.
Port Orchard. And they didn't have a huge selection. And I was looking up Marvel comics to read to start on if you're new.
No, you said DC.
I know. I'm getting to that because at the comic book store, they didn't have a lot of the DC stuff I looked up. So for DC, what they did based on what I read so far, and anyone can comment down below to help me out because I haven't been able to buy any yet, but they, for a few series, have restarted the telling the story of the characters.
Okay.
So their newest line, one of their newest lines, there is one comic book line that is at the store that I want to buy that I'm interested in, but one of their newest lines called Rebirth, and it's retelling the stories of all the characters, and it's made for specifically people that are new to reading the comics. So they kind of consolidate and retell the stories of all the characters. So if you're not someone who knows Superman's origins from 1939, and yes, that is the year he first came out, you can read Rebirth and go backwards. So rebirth, and then you can add on to all the knowledge that that series provide with all the older stuff. So you start off with this firm foundation as a new reader, and then build on that by going backwards. So I was looking for those, but they didn't have any. But this comic book store seemed more Marvel based, so that's why I looked up Marvel stuff to read. And I didn't really find like a good starting place, in my opinion. I still need to read some more on where to start for Marvel. They're like, oh, start with the first 2 original comics, or start with the 1960s Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. And I'm like, but they didn't have a lot. So
okay.
So yeah, so I feel like though I've always enjoyed DC just a little more than Marvel for whatever reason.
I don't maybe not necessarily enjoyed. I'm drawn to it a lot more.
I think so too. I think that may be the case.
They're both good, especially like I feel like you can obviously compare how Marvel movies and franchises go comparatively to DC. Like I feel like that's something you can talk about, but I feel like as far as comics go, and this is somebody who doesn't read comics at all, like written, they're both probably obviously written well enough to be into like giant mega million franchises. What was I gonna say? I think that for me, and why I like DC so much, is just because that's characters in the DC universe are characters that are more familiar to me. And I think I've talked about this before, but I need to like know an aspect about something before like really going into it. Like same thing goes for movies, same thing goes for TV shows. Like I am a creature of habit, and like I like the things that I like. I like the things that I know.
Yeah.
Right? I know Wonder Woman. I know Superman. I know Batman. I know Aquaman. I know
I think
things like that. So venturing off into more Marvel stuff, I'm not aware of that. But I grow to love characters like Tony Stark. And
Tony Stark,
that's it.
I think.
And Black Panther and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I'll probably talk about this when we talk about Marvel, but I think Tony Stark is actually one of my favorite characters. He's so complex. Tony Stark is
the best character.
He's so complex. I finished the movies on time. I'll put that out there first. Okay. I finished all the movies on time. And a lot of the movies did have Tony in it, whether it was a big part or not, you know, like,
I mean, especially Far From Home, you can look at that too.
Yeah. He didn't play a big part because he physically, but mentally, he was very important.
But like his presence was, presence was the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, and after watching him, I'm like, he is probably one of the most complex characters that are in this entire universe. Like,
I was even thinking about it too, because I watched a DC show that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. That Bruce Wayne's in it. It's called Titans. And obviously we watched Justice League, and it was interesting to me because I'm like, you know, like Bruce doesn't have to be this like good guy. Batman doesn't have to be this good guy. Batman doesn't have to exist, because ultimately Bruce has every reason to be like a rich, bitter white
old man,
like public figure in a way, who pretends to care about the people of Gotham.
Yeah.
You know how the rich white men public figures tend to be, who like care in quotations.
Yeah.
He has every right to be like not involved in like hateful and rude and like hates life and this and that, but like he chooses to be that way, to be a good person, to be for vengeance and vengeful. Is that even a word? I don't know, but like, you know what I mean? I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. So I definitely
Tony too.
Tony's just a little more complex. He's a little more narcissistic. He's a little more of a show off.
Tony, I think maybe I don't know. Maybe he's not more guarded. I don't think that's the right word. But if he is, or maybe they play off Tony's guardedness maybe better. You know?
Yeah, you'll definitely see it a lot in. Oh, he's doing that. You'll definitely see it a lot in Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
That Tony is a hurt Tony.
That no shit.
Yeah.
And even an Endgame too.
Yeah. Oh.
You know.
Oh.
I know. I honestly, like, again, I just gravitate more towards DC because I know DC more. The characters are iconic. You know, Marvel's characters grew to be more iconic, I think, in like the general public sense. You know what I mean? But growing up, like we watched like Teen Titans and
that's the thing though. Like as young kids, the content that was out there was DC. It wasn't any Marvel stuff. It was all DC. It was cartoons. They've been making Batman, Superman movies forever. You know, they did make Spider-Man, but it was before the MCU. And you know
what? I would say that Spider-Man probably was like the most
recognizable
Marvel superhero to the general public, in my opinion, allegedly for legal reasons.
I think also to this day, Spider-Man's one of the most loved characters out of all the Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example,
especially Peter's relationship with Tony.
and here's how this is how it's justified, right? The trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home got more views 24 hours than Endgame. And he's a sole character. I mean, he's not the sole character in it. You know, you have Doctor Strange and stuff, but it's his movie. And it got more views than Endgame. Like, what is that? And Endgame was the big, you know, for right now, at least.
Yeah, and I think too, just like they've done a really good job with all of the different Spider-Mans, especially Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Tom Holland's movies within the MCU, like really well, like standalone really well.
He play. We'll talk about this again, but he plays a really good Spider-Man.
He does.
He is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So
I do like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man too, but that's just my opinion.
Hey, you might see him in a few months.
I know. That was a side note. That was a giant debate. It's not a side note. We're talking about it. That was a giant, like an ongoing debate in quotation.
And it always will be, though. That's the thing.
Between my friend group of Toby versus Andrew, and I've just always loved Andrew's portrayal as Peter Parker, specifically Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
But his Peter Parker and Spider-Man, I just love. I just think he's great, and he's just like so adorable as Peter Parker, in my opinion. But like Tobey Maguire's great too, obviously. Though his Spider-Man movies, I think, are more classic too.
Yeah,
which is evident with the trailer.
Yeah, but that goes back to, you know, growing up as a kid, the things that were out were just the DC animation series, which were easy to access because we used to watch them all the time. Right. And then Spider-Man, and I don't even think we watched Batman movies until Christian Bale's like Dark Knight. Right. We didn't watch Batman stuff until then.
Watching Batman Begins, like when it came out. Dark Knight was like the shit because
so Joker was in it. The only thing in terms of movies we watched was Spider-Man. Right. Like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we had.
At least for us.
Yeah.
Can't say that about other people, but I have this thing where, oh my God. What is that?
Water.
No, they're just talking about the wild Kevin that came in. Following watching our DC movies, I have this thing where if I like something a lot, specifically like a movie and stuff, I'll like, I don't know if you do the same, like I'll go like watch interviews of the cast and like do all this stuff. Yeah. So I wanted to watch Justice League again. Liked it so. Well, hold on, because I liked it so much. So it's on HBO Max, and one of the options next to Justice League was Titans. I'm like, okay. I was like, oh, let me give this a try.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was yesterday. And I finished season 1, and We can talk about it.
Sure.
This is us from a different day in the future than a previous podcast not yes, a previous podcast, which is like the first portion of this podcast. That's why if you're watching this, we look different and we're dressed different.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily dressed different, but Kim looks different. I probably look the same
yet, but you're probably wearing a different shirt, I would hope.
I am. Hopefully not. But then again, I tend to wear the same shirts, even if they get washed. I gravitate towards the same shirt. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, editing Kim will let us know. But I wanted to cut off the Titans talk with just me because in the span of 2 weeks since we recorded the first part of this podcast, somehow miraculously you have gotten on board to watching this show.
I wouldn't say miraculously.
Well, I say miraculously because I didn't tell you to watch it. Well, I did tell you to watch it, but I didn't be like, watch this right now, let's go.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to take my suggestions because you never take my suggestions of things that are interesting to watch or listen to. What? And then you somehow stumble upon them and you boast about them. And then you're like, don't you know that this is great? I'm like, yeah, dude, I've been telling you to watch and or listen to this for months. And then you just shut it down. But now it's great. That's with everything that I suggest to you.
I feel like this was an easy thing to go into, especially since we've been watching so much comic book related stuff. And I just so happen to be now getting into comic book collecting, which is a whole different beast in itself.
Why can't you just say that maybe I have good suggestions?
You do have good suggestions, but I'm saying other things on top of what you recommend that led to the decision.
I mean, to be fair, I did start watching it because of after a DC episode marathon.
Right.
So that's fair. Because I was scrolling through HBO Max, and they actually have really nice stuff on there. As of right now, well, we're both watching all the Harry Potters.
Yep.
So
we're both watching all the Harry Potters, which we can save for a different day and time. But yeah. But because I'm sure we'll do a rerun watch or something when we're all together. Hi. Bye. But
I actually think I might want to read the books.
Well, they're all here. You'll have 11 days to read them.
Yeah, thanks.
But yeah, HBO's Game of Thrones, everyone knows what a hit that was, even if you not talking about plot wise, I'm saying just associated with HBO in terms of quality and how it's made and stuff.
Things are on HBO besides Game of Thrones, Danielle.
I know, but I'm saying that's probably that just shows how good other shows are. It shows how much HBO's invest in Game of Thrones, how other shows can have the same quality as that on HBO. It's a hidden gem.
I can't comment on HBO, well, on Game of Thrones, because I couldn't get into it. But anyways, so that's why if we look different, that's why this is a different day and time, but in the same episode. So I guess this is a whole what we're watching episode.
I guess so.
So season 1 of Titans on HBO Max, but I didn't know that it was originally on Netflix.
I think I read it somewhere that it said it was. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious as to why it's not anymore, but I'm sure maybe that. I'm sure though HBO invested a lot of money into getting the rights to it or something.
Yeah,
it could have been. It could have just been that since DC has all their stuff on HBO, it just could have been that.
That's what I'm thinking. They probably sold it or something.
Not stole it. They just
sold
it off of Netflix
and sold it. They didn't steal it. I don't think they can do that. But anyways, so let's get into the discussion of season 1 of Titans, and I guess we will continue with the next 2 seasons that are out. So
we're in a deep hole now, guys.
I know it's
the DC universe hole. I will say though, before we start discussing
recently that I did.
Before we start discussing DC, because I've been seeing a lot of memes about content coming out about Marvel and superheroes and stuff. I will say Marvel does have the whole movie thing going on, but DC has been making shows since before Marvel was making shows. I just realized that like today.
Yeah, I mean,
in terms of live action.
Because I guess like live actions ones didn't start till it was on Netflix for them, right?
Well, I think the Flash and Green Arrow and everything was like early.
But that's DC, Danielle.
No, I'm saying DC.
I'm talking about Marvel.
Oh, I'm talking about DC.
I know. And I'm saying, yes, I agree. Because I think Marvel didn't go to live action television series until it was on Netflix.
Right. Correct? Until it was on Netflix. Yep. Oh my God.
Avocadava your ass if you don't stop.
But I just realized that today because I've been seeing all the memes about how Marvel's putting out all this content and DC's just like.
Well, I think they're all filming right now, right?
They're all filming. Yep. They're all filming, doing stuff, and people are getting released or they're leaving, and storylines are all over the place. It's just DC. But
well, I just don't think that. I just think Marvel is just so oversaturated. So they're always going to come out with something.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, but comparatively to DC
just needs to pick a storyline and stick with it.
All right. Who cares? Anyways. Moving on. So you finished the show more recently than I, so you can start the discussion. Did my what's the word? Did my
synopsis?
No. Did my recommendation live up to you watching? Like, did you actually enjoy it starting off?
So I think starting off right off the bat, I knew I was going to enjoy it at some degree because like we talked about when we were watching or talking about the DC movies that we grew up watching Teen Titans. So it's more of a nostalgia thing, you know? So I knew right off the bat that these were characters that we somewhat knew. Of course, they're going to take different form because it's live action and there's stuff that you can and can't do. And knowing now we're in the 20, we're in the a new era, so like the stories are going to change and stuff. So I knew that going into it. I didn't think because I didn't think the storyline, like some of the acting's good and then some of the acting is like okay. It could just be the whole, it's the first season. It's the first season. They're still trying to like find their sea legs type of thing.
Yeah.
But like iCarly. But it does definitely do a better job, especially going into the second season. And it's nice. I didn't like the people I thought that would be bad at like acting for their characters are actually like really good and or like the stars of the show.
Okay. That's a good point to expand on. I'm going to go back to the one point where you said the sea legs thing, which I agree, but I think similar to how we talked about it with a lot of the origin stories from the last episode. I think part of that in comparison to iCarly is that for season 1 of the iCarly reboot, it's like it's not necessarily like a beginning, like it's kind of like in the middle phase. So that's why like the sea legs thing didn't work out because I know we talked about iCarly before. But I think for this, well, it didn't work out for me, but I think for this show for Titans, it's like it's kind of like the whole like how like Man of Steel and I mean not really Aquaman, but like Man of Steel, like it's an origin story, so it's kind of slow and they kind of have to go through that sea legs thing in order for people to understand.
Yeah, but the thing that Titans does that,
which is like, when you have a series that you're building.
Yeah, but the thing that Titans do that other shows don't do is they actually like dedicate episodes or whatever to backstory. So you're filled in on what's happening. And they somehow very well tie backstories into the present.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to have to connect the pieces as much or do a lot of like detective work to realize like, oh, this is why they're like this. You know
right,
what I mean?
Because for season 1, it's like everybody didn't start in season 1. We're kind of in the middle of like where they are, or post certain things. Like it's not like they start from it's not like it's an origin story of the team, kind of,
but not the characters.
Not the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that too. Especially again for somebody who like doesn't know anything, right? And is watching it, you know.
Right. So like for example, so I remember I texted you. I'm like, why is there a random Hawk and Dove episode at the end of the season that like goes into their origin story? But it turns out they connected it really well to the present, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just a dream. And Rachel was reaching out for help. So I'm like, oh, so they're telling us their backstory at the same time, tying it into the present with the Rachel and the storyline with her figuring out who she is, why people are after her, who her father is.
Help.
Yep. So all of that.
Yeah. They do a good job. And I think the thing is too, is like in the present day, for a lot of the things, they reference the past a lot.
Yeah.
So it makes an audience like curious, like, oh, so like what happened? Like for instance, the stuff with Dick Grayson when he moves to Detroit and he's like, yo, F Batman. Batman sucks. And we're like, what happened? You know?
Yeah.
And then they talk about it in the past, and then they actually
showed it.
They actually go back.
They do. Like showed what pushed him over the edge.
Yeah. So I agree. I like it a lot. And plus like watching like you said, like being familiar with the show, well not the show, like with characters and how they're gonna be. I like the different adaptations of it. Like, oh, I'm curious how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So you said that moving to another point, you said that some characters surprised you, or like some acting surprised you.
Yeah.
What would you say was kind of like some of the highlights?
I really like the actress who plays Starfire. I don't know her name.
I do too.
Yeah. I really like her. I really like, let me look her up. Hold on. Anna Diop.
Yeah, I was like, I think her name's Anna.
Yeah. She's really good. The girl who plays Dove is pretty good too.
Okay. Minka Kelly?
Yeah.
Which I never knew what she looked like. I never I've only heard of like Minka Kelly. I've never like seen her or ever thought to look her up. Right?
Right.
Because honestly, I've only heard her about like dating like celebrities because she's like, so I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, Minka Kelly, who's like dated like this person and that person. Like I've never.
She's like in the back of your mind, but then also too, you're like, you kind of know who this is.
I have no. I'm like, when I saw that she was playing Dove, I guess when her name came up in the credit, I'm like, that's Minka Kelly. Like I didn't expect her to look like that at all. Anyways, so I was very shocked. Not in a bad way though. I was like, oh wow, finally a face to the name.
Yeah, right. The person who's into New Robin gets really into the character. The actor that plays the New Robin, Jason Todd.
Yeah, but Jason Todd, that's not his name though. But that's
I know. That's character name. That's not his name. His name's Curran Walters.
Yeah.
But he gets really into it. Like you can see, like he's low key crazy.
Yeah,
like you can feel the vibes.
Really like Griff. I think he's my favorite.
You really like who?
No.
You really like who?
Griffin.
Oh.
Beast Boy?
That's Gar. His name's Gar.
Garfield. That's his name. Same thing. I haven't watched it in a while. I really like Gar.
He's a sweetheart.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
I think the actor that plays really good.
Yeah, he's like, I never bit anyone. I'm like, dude, you're a freaking tiger. Like, how did you never bite anyone? And then in terms of surprising, I'm surprised on who they cast as Batman.
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna show him.
I didn't think it would be so soon. Yeah, it was kind of a mystery, right? Like, who's Batman?
Because I mean, he's obviously important to the character of Dick Grayson, but I don't necessarily think that they needed to show Bruce and have those interactions. I kind of like the more like Batman is obviously a presence in this, but he's not like a big deal.
Yeah, right.
He's a big deal, but like I kind of like
he's not like as soon as Batman rolls in
background.
Right. As soon as Batman rolls in, like everyone knows who Batman is, so they would want to try to make him the star of the show. But in this, they're just making like his presence important, but they're not making him the star of the show.
Yeah. Because I don't think that necessarily that would be an intent, but it might happen by default.
Right. And it's just,
I don't think it's but right. I don't necessarily when I saw that they were doing, I was like, oh my god, I kind of liked when they weren't. I liked when he did like had to hit himself in the getup and the Batman getup and stuff. Like that's cool. But
yeah. Yeah, and then just like who they selected to act as Batman. I think this is now I don't know the older Batman movies because of course Batman movies have been out for forever. But in terms of recent times, this is a different look that they're taking in terms of how Batman looks. Of course, we know that they're going to be older because the people that were the sidekicks, right, are now older. So that just means the Justice League and all the, the top tier superheroes are going to be older. So I understand that, because Dick Grayson was young when he was Robin. Now he's not, Yeah, so I get that. But in terms of just overall look, like, even though like Batman's older, I think this is the first time they shown Batman this way compared to recent history. Not older, just like he's a little more slim, his hair's different, his like overall facial features are different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it might be because also too, Robert Pattinson's about to play the Batman. It's kind of a look kind of like that in a sense. They kind of look similar, right? Because we all know that Ben Affleck's leaving the role after The Flash. So the role of Batman's going to be up for grabs. So maybe that's the look they might be leaning more towards in the future, for Batman, potentially. So I was surprised by that. The actor is great.
The
actor is great. He's, Game of Thrones alumni, right? So he solidified a job after that was done. But I'm saying
shaking. Stop stomping your hand.
Sorry. But in terms of acting in general, and he's probably like the most well-known actor in the series. But very experienced, very good at acting. His American accent doesn't sell me, but whatever. But yeah, so I was surprised by that. But I understand Batman being older. Just the overall facial features and his body type and his hair is just, it's new, but it's like, it's a nice change, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It like, I wasn't disappointed when it came. It was like a nice surprise because I didn't think they were going to do it.
Right.
They didn't do, but it's kind of nice that they did show or have.
Yeah. I think the one thing I wish they did was maybe prolong the reunion.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. To make it like more
meaningful.
I think it'd be more meaningful. I think it'd be cool to prolong it to maybe the end of the mid to end of the second season when like Dick is in this role of what he's doing officially, and like he can like go to Bruce and tell him like he's accomplished all this stuff and got over what he did with him.
Yeah. I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. I didn't know what I was going to expect.
I think also, another reason why I like it is that
we're going to probably say the same thing.
It's a little more dark than normal.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it's dark than normal. I mean,
shit that is happening to these characters.
Yeah.
In this show is a lot.
Yeah. And
a lot.
Yeah. I feel like DC is just more dark in general. I mean, Batman's dark in general, you know? So, the fact this is a darker type of show and it's more gritty, you know?
There's like a lot of like I was saying, I don't know if you heard me, like especially Hank going through a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's going through a lot. Dick in the first season was going through a lot, you know? Like he literally told Starfire to, and this is a spoiler alert for anyone who's listening, to light up a whole building on fire. He just said, do it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this too. In comparison, I don't think, not in terms of like, I'm not talking about, well, okay, so like, yeah, like PTSD drama. HBO does a really good job of creating shows like that and showcasing shows like that. Like Harry Potter, for example, is on HBO right now. Harry Potter gets darker as the movies go on.
Finished the 5th movie today. And I was like, I'm gonna go back and watch the first one because the first 3 are all right, and then from 4 on it just gets real, and I cannot handle this.
But HBO has like generally that's what they've done. But I don't
know if this is the first. I think the only seasons that are with HBO is this 3rd season. So right. I don't know.
So I don't know, but in terms of storytelling, I think DC always tends to take the darker side.
Yeah. The good thing about this show is like, I like how all, because they have those standalone episodes, like somehow like the characters always like come together for a thing and it like works itself out. I always like those things. Those things in shows and movies.
Yeah. And they don't.
I was like, I know his name starts with a G. I just don't remember.
And even though there's multiple characters with multiple storylines going on, it all merges together and flows. You know, there's not like different storylines going on that you have to keep track of each and every one of them, you know, and they may never diverge. They all come together at the end, which is nice. The one thing which we can tie back to the Bruce Wayne thing that I think is just the overall, my opinion about the show that I don't like is sometimes how fast things come about or how fast things finish. So like Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne's conversation for one, how soon we met Robin was another one. I'm like, oh, Robin, the new Robin came in pretty quick. Another one, which was, I think the biggest one for me, was how quickly Raven defeated her father. I'm like, how did she even know what to do? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I watched. Other people's reactions to episodes after I would watch them because I want to see what, and people's. It's like I was kind of waiting for this epic final battle, and it just didn't happen.
Well, it could be that it's still going to happen at some point. I don't feel like he's dead, you know. But I'm like, how did she know how to defeat him? I meant for the season. Oh, for the season. Yeah, for the season. But I'm like, how did she know how to defeat him by just getting her, like, all her powers? You know, like, it just felt too rushed.
I kind of wanted more action scenes. Like, kind of more of those, like, action sequences. Like, because the ones that they gave were really good, especially with Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah, I think
like they had, I feel like sequences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could have just been that they were developing the characters at the time too, because Guard didn't know what he was doing. Raven for sure didn't know what she was doing. Starfire knew, but like not at the same time. Like she knew.
Yeah. No. Oh, she didn't know until she knew.
Yeah. And then of course Jason Todd knew because he's Robin too. I say 1.5. He's not a Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is pretty good.
Well, I mean, yeah, and then but he goes off and becomes his own man.
Yeah.
But I think that's one thing I'm like, oh, because they're actually really good.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted more like I wanted the action scenes kind of to be longer.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you're right. Maybe they're waiting for that. I was gonna say something and then I forgot. I don't remember.
And they're waiting for Hef probably for season 2 when there's more of the people that know what they're doing are around. Also,
yeah,
too, Dick Grayson was really the only one that did a lot of action stuff because Hawk and Dove were
what he was doing. He had experience.
Yeah, and Hawk and Dove were indisposed for most of the season.
Yeah.
I'm also very happy that Gar can change into other things because I'm like, please not just be you're Beast Boy. What I know of Beast Boy is Beast Boy can change into anything. And the fact that he showed up at the end as a snake, I'm like, good. This is the Beast Boy I know.
But I like how that's something they didn't rush, and I kind of dig that too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I was just waiting for it, but I'm like, what moment are they going to use it for him to change into something else?
I know I guess they mentioned in the show is that I think for him, it's like animals that he thinks of in times of like situations that he's in. Because I know with the tiger, that's his favorite animal.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he thought of a snake to like get the F out of there.
Maybe also too to heal quick because reptiles and snakes and stuff can heal certain body parts better than other animals. So maybe that was it because he was pretty much on the brink of death when
oh my god. I thought they were gonna kill him. Like, why don't kill him?
Well, that was the way to break Rachel's heart.
I know, and they're so cute.
I'm just waiting.
They're so cute. And Rachel season 2, like, she's great so far. I like her a lot. I liked Rachel season 1 too, but she was a little kid. But like, I like her.
Her acting's also better in season 2.
Yeah. She seems a lot more well, she is relaxed.
Her character. She seems
a lot more fit in, yeah.
Yeah, her character. So that should be exciting to watch. I'm just waiting for them to like be a couple or whatever.
They're so cute.
And then she got.
Oh, I literally just remembered. I was like, you probably would like it too because they do mention Game of Thrones in the show.
Yeah, Rachel calls Dove Daenerys because of the same hair.
I know, but she also watching Game of Thrones?
Yeah, at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. So are we gonna finish season 2 then? I am. I already went through 2 episodes today.
I'm finishing it regardless of your opinions.
Oh.
And so yes, I guess this is like the new Part what 1. We're watching.
Yeah.
Which is fine by me.
Yeah, because iCarly might not do it for us. I watched a video today going back to iCarly, and you can tie it into when we talked about it.
By the way.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch the rest of the season for sure, especially knowing there's a 3rd season out and probably be a 4th.
Yeah, I think they just started releasing the episodes for season 3.
Right.
I don't know if they're doing it episodic or like they're putting the whole season out, but it's new. It just came out like in July.
And I just looked it up. It's probably already renewed for a season 4.
Good.
So
and I will say, like, going to Marvel, like, that's the one thing that pisses me off because the Netflix shows would only get like 2 seasons.
Yeah, and then they would stop. But
they were good.
They were good, but they are starting to tie in some of the characters into the MCU and with the same actors.
Yeah.
Or there's plans to, which is good, which DC does not do.
But I just wish they didn't. They didn't put them on Disney Plus though, right?
I don't think so.
Netflix owns them, but they got rid of them, didn't they?
I have no idea. I don't pay enough attention.
Who gives a crap? I'm becoming a nerd. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, you have to embrace it.
I'm not there yet. We'll take it back to the old us from a couple weeks ago to do the outro because they definitely did.
Yep.
So we don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo! Okay. That's it.
I have nothing else. If Kim has anything else for everyone.
Epitome. Epitome.
Epitome.
Epitome.
Epitome.